know it is a scientific fact that the universe expands and contracts? Did you know that in the contraction phase, the planet receives an energy burst approximately every 50 years? The Quran identifies this as Surah 7:187. It is momentous in the heavens and the earth. It will not come to you, but of a sudden. It is scientifically and historically shown that black people are physically and mentally affected by the energy wave we receive approximately every 50 years. This is because the original nation suffers from energy deprivation. When the planet receives this energy wave, it affects the original nation's mood and mindset. It also affects the mindset of the blacks who are not original. Let me break it down. There are two different groups of people under the term black people. Black is a skin designation, but it is not a bloodline designation. One group is the original blacks. They have an original bloodline. The other group are the Caucasians in black skin. They have the devil's bloodline. They are skin folk, but not kinfolk. The Caucasians in black skin were produced from NASA raping the original black women, the field Negroes, and forcing us to birth Caucasians in black skin, which are the house Negroes. They are demons, which means half devil, half man. Demons have the skin tone of their original mother, but the bloodline and the nature of their devil father. And it is a scientific biological fact that you are the seed of your father. So there are two different natures within the black community, because there are two different groups within the black community, two different bloodlines within the black community. Some blacks have an original nature. We are the saints. Some blacks have the devil's nature. They are the demons. Now in the 1820s, there were two classifications, two groups of black people. The field Negroes were in the fields because we are original. The house Negroes were in NASA's house because they are the devil's children. So as we go through the historical timeline, we will see that every time we received an energy burst, approximately every 50 years, there were two different visions, the demon's vision and the saint's vision. We will explore how these two different visions have evolved and become more defined with each energy burst. We will highlight how each energy burst changed the mood of the original black nation by sparking our creativity. And as a result, we produce a new musical sound which affects the atmosphere and changes the world. The universe started contracting in the 1860s, and we received our first energy burst.
In the 1860s, we saw two different frames of mind, with the field Negroes and the house Negroes. The field Negroes broke their chains, left the plantation, and became city dwellers. We wanted to get far away from NASA. The house Negroes stayed on the plantation and became sharecroppers. They did not want to leave NASA because they are his black-faced children from rape. The field Negroes were energized by the energy burst. However, we had nothing, so we felt blue. Feeling blue is to feel sad, unhappy, or gloomy. This is due to us having nothing. But we were free from the plantation, and that's all we wanted. As a result, a new sound came from our minds, which was called blues. Music is a reflection of our mood, which is why the blues era started in the 1860s, when we broke our chains.
Sky's
Approximately 50 years later, we received our second energy burst, which brings us to the 1920s.
In the 1920s, we saw the Eurocentric movement and the Afrocentric movement, which indicated the growing divide between the original blacks, formerly known as the field Negroes, and the European blacks, formerly known as the house Negroes. The Eurocentric movement was the mind frame of the house Negroes, or European blacks in black skin. Frederick Douglass's father was a white slave master, so Douglas, having the bloodline of his European father, was a black skinned European. He had a Eurocentric perspective. Frederick Douglass wanted to get political power and equal rights. He wanted to prove that he could be black master, so that he could be closer to his European fathers. On the other hand, the Afrocentric movement reflected the Afro perspective of the original nation. Marcus Garvey launched the Back to Africa movement. Dr. Ali spoke about reclaiming our African roots. Pastor Farrad Muhammad also came around this time and taught about the true identity of the original man. The AGA black man, the maker, the queen of the planet Earth, God of the universe. We was not called niggas no more. We had a sense of self-worth. Music is a reflection of the original nation's mood. Once we found out that we were from Africa and not just some property of America, our mood changed and we started to feel jazzy. Feeling jazzy means feeling lively, excited, or energetic. This is due to us finding out knowledge of self. And as a result, a new sound came from our mothers, which was called jazz. The jazz era started in the 1920s when we received the second energy wave.
Approximately 50 years later, we received our third energy burst, which brings us to the 1960s.
In the 1960s, we saw the gap between the two mindsets of black people growing even wider. The demons had a dream, and the saints had a vision. Integration versus separation. Martin Luther King preached integration. The demons wanted civil rights. They wanted to live in the suburbs, work and eat with the devils. They wanted welfare and voting rights. They wanted their devil fathers to accept them and take care of them because they are his black-skinned children. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad preached total separation. The saints wanted nothing to do with the devil's system. We did for self, producing our own food, clothing, and shelter. We had a promised land vision, and we knew that we would be fools to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. The original nation was energized once again, coming into more knowledge of self, learning that we are the gods of the universe, and the music is a reflection of our mood. So we invented Motown music.
This is the sound that came from our minds during the 1960s. The more knowledge we had about ourselves, the more our mood reflected. And the Motown music era started in the 1960s when we received our third energy wave.
Now, in the 2020s, we are due for our fourth energy burst. In the 2020s, we are beginning to experience our fourth energy burst. This energy burst will be like no other. During this time, we will see two different visions reach their peak between blacks here in America. One group of blacks will be following after Martin Luther King with integration. He preached to blacks about a dream he had. That dream was for blacks and whites to come together. He wanted to gain peace and stay here in America. This is the demon's vision. And the other group of blacks wanted 100% separation, following in Elijah Muhammad's footsteps. A complete breakout, meaning to leave America for good, back to our land that God gave his word to give to the seed of Abraham in the Bible, the Abrahamic covenant. This is the original nation's vision. With each energy burst, we see a leader emerge from each group of black people that represents each path. A person representing the path of separation, and a person representing the path of integration. The two visions of the two groups of blacks has not changed. It has gotten more intense with each energy wave. The demons want to stay here in America, break in, gain full control, and change the fabric of America. While the saints want to leave America and take our land, Arabia, back. Two totally different visions with different outcomes. So what would be the attitude and language of the leader of the demons?
I believe America can be good. How can America be made good? Now, family, listen. My brother Imam Water and I have had disagreement. But his followers and mine have never given each other as much as a bloody nose. Because in spite of our differences, there's a deep love in us. We don't like the things about our nation that is not good. But I don't want to live anywhere else. I want America to be made right. I don't want to see America go the way of Rome and Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah. Why won't you go that way? If the men of religion and the women of religion keep silent. Yes, when the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again, when the Muslims were alive, you didn't tell now on both sides. Yes, sir, brother military. Yes, we are. That's real, brother. When we were alive, we set up schools. That's right. When we were alive, we had supermarkets. We own buildings. We own farmland. We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they not doing nothing on top of the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
Louis Farrakhan, a black-skinned Caucasian, is a demon who claims to be the Messiah, but meets not one description of the Messiah. He is preaching on how much he loves America and wants to stay here, while expressing how much he hates the original nation, accusing us while speaking highly of America, the very nation that afflicted the original nation. Farrakhan clearly loves America because he has the mindset and the bloodline of a devil. Now, sisters and brothers, what would the leader of the original black man and black woman in America be preaching?
Sisters and brothers, soon my love Negro, I should come together some seals and go home, brothers and sisters. As promised, you will return home after 7 years of captivity, 1619 to 2019, 2020, and then you will return home. There will be great resistance, and one of your primary resistors is the FARRAKHAN. The single devil does not see him, so our covenant does not apply to him. It is against our covenant. He's the agent of your enemies. So we must remove the demons and the sins. My job is to remove the demons, the chaff, separate the chaff from the wheat. He's the chief demon, leader, leads the gene grows in our pockets. His primary mission is to deceive you, confuse you, to kill you, even destroy you. That's not going to be accomplished. You're going home, brothers and sisters, those of you who want to go home. Your desires to go home, then you're going home. Just follow the message. I'm giving you a clear message to go home. Clear message. You want us to run from you? You want us to control you? Because I'm giving you a clear map. GPS, it's all a message, INJIL. It's all a message. It's INJIL. Apply discipline on 5 pillars. And we will return home safely, securely, fairly, Jesus and security, especially our sisters. You know, you're abused, afflicted upon by enemies no more ever. Assalamu
The messenger of the covenant, Joshua, the Messiah, is preaching the Abrahamic covenant. He's the true Messiah that describes in the scriptures. It tells us he would have skin like bronze and hair like lamb's wool, leading us home to the promised land, Arabia. This is the original nation's true vision that we unite under. So, sisters and brothers, at this time, you can clearly see the difference between the two visions. And at this point, this is when the complete separation will take place. Because the demons, those who want to stay here in America, will hate the saints. Those who want to get out of here. And the saints are going to hate the demons. Because the demons have a different vision as well. And that is to stay here in America. Music during this time will be a sound of victory. We will soon be rejoicing in new music and sound that's on the horizon, sisters and brothers. Because music is a reflection of our mood, and we affect the atmosphere with our music. Soon, we are going to realize that we control the atmosphere. We don't have complete control right now, but through discipline, we will have enough power to control our atmosphere to the point that we will control it for our benefit as a weapon for when our enemies attack us during the tribulations that is soon to come. We don't need guns, knives, bombs, because our control of the atmosphere is also our control of the weather. And the weather is more powerful than an atomic bomb, sisters and brothers. The devil's weapons and the system cannot function properly when the weather is bad. So no weapon formed against us shall prosper, sisters and brothers. The original nation is about to produce a new sound, a long-awaited victory, and a final breakout from America.
When the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again. When the Muslims were alive, you raise hell now on both sides. Yes, sir, brother. That's real, both sides. When we were alive, we set up schools. That's right. When we were alive, we had supermarkets. We owned buildings. We owned farmlands. We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they're not doing nothing on the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
We have a lot of that going on, so we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. You know, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night, enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work well until their backs give out, and then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
When they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics. I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, you know, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the programs. You don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people, and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's, you know, he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for, what, 4 more years? And so you wonder, like, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. Like, I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself, and I completely understand the anger. I don't, like you, I abhor any form of violence, but I do understand the anger when you have, you know, Keir Starmer campaign. I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country, and they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. It's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
Are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is, like, is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish? Oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. Like, it's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. Like, that was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So, like, what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are, and that's real, and no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, the population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, I don't know, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just like let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like this is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. I mean, there's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I mean, I think that...
Don't shut up, white supremacists. In fact, I'm not a white supremacist.
Well,
I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK, most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
But it's multicultural? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law, in a multicultural country, is Sharia law... What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law, in a multicultural country, is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is the lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been
your society is
one
about
culture will dominate.
Hang on, surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recent. It's just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, it's American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multicultural there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society, because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
Those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You don't have one guy in every society. Sorry.
Your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments? Right, so your own values, as determined by the Founding Fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
If you're rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the Founding Fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society, because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
Those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
Your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, what is it, 26, 27 amendments? Right, so your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
If you're rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. That's just what it is. Dude.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples, albeit not completely without their flaws, the shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of, certainly for that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization, and so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. So you have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Which one? And you can't face that reality, so you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you can wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore, because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview, and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country, and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half-English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half-English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization of my country as a sad, disgusting, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy.
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe, and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became, not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion, and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country. That's It's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian, and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, you know, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is...
The Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans who were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white, we were 90% Protestant. And this may be hard for you to believe, but the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation.
It's not fun, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation, can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all think that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy, and that.
No, because you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
Well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful.
Does your religion dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors, to
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is not what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people, but this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Cook's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying, if you are Black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well, and you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point, Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and Black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros' Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about Black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, if we would have said
3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe, he literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful. Why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly were with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure that they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Flies body on Air Force 2. Do a memorial service at the Community Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinal Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Vance saying in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk, after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalized him? I mean, it really is showing folks the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
history of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? Behind the history of the cross: murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7, rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians, in the name of Jesus. They said Jesus cursed black people. They call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, kissed in our mouths, made us eat shit. And they took and tried to clean up, I get, well, not clean it up, but make it look more attractive, I guess, by calling it chitlins. It's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what they do was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 40 years ago. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. It was a million years ago. It was 20 years ago. It lasted for 400 years. It's doing today. They took everything away from the slaves. Everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza, make it 1,000 times worse. What's going on in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza's bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population. The genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets. Knowing there was full disease. Herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from seabird animals. So common cold was not common. Didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When it was raping out women, there was a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught that there was God's will. God's will. Enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? What are you trying to arrest our people? Your rap sheet? What's your rap sheet? Are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Yeah. He stole his land. He murdered his people. He requested the native people here When the braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and snatch the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, they all came instead of Columbus. What could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they serve. They have known by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. What's going on in Gaza is just a reflection and microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. They got women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. They told them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This kind of stuff they would do. Make one slave defecate and slave and sit and slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bind it up so they couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. There's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? Legacy of the cross. What's your rap sheet? America? Gog? What's your rap sheet? Magog? Britain? What's your mention? What's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel. What's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They steal the ribbons off everyone. It's the legacy of Christianity. It's been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war. They finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
how's we gonna make it? Surely you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? We ain't going back to that. No. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their way. Come out of their pagan holiday. When you should be honoring Jesus, you are buying bunny rabbits. Inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus of your house and a tree. That is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
People. And they will put all the shows of Lord. And they should. Jesus, down the halls, go out and stir. They stood and said, it is a parent. And behold, I wanted to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship, and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they must put all on this memorable shows, they took their scattered that ship that brought them to our strange land, and these strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country. Strange people who had given to them every bow from that native land that they love. Going to be the West Indies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that were destroyed. They soon discovered that all this ship that they were being brought here. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us. When this ship was made of Jesus, this is how that we have always been deceived by the white man. I use Jesus, the name Jesus, to our a mental sleep, thinking that we are our way to heaven. This is church. My brothers and this is very hard for us to people to accept today. Imagine our parents standing in front to return to that native land and people and Jews yesterday. Trying to save the very that brought in subjection to that will. You know what? Turning away from your ordinary life and turning it back towards our prison house and it will have destroyed us and seeks to destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to you. It's trying to make love with the people that destroy you in your head. Do you feel? And even today, there are beating and shooting you all throughout the country. There's no justice here for you and me. Why did not you want to be separated and be returned to your I think that push. They go to your parents on the Eastern Shore of crying and praying to God to be returned to that arms 400 years ago. Now, you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemned for being such fools. That's not what to them that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them. For 300 long years here. They condemn you as fools. But I wanted to be separated and go to your arm salvation for your son. The white man said he opened. Remember that.
How's we gonna make it? Sure, you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Sure, you ain't talking about it. We ain't going back to Africa. No. It's your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their way. Come out of their pagan holidays. When you should be honoring Jesus, you are buying bunny rackets. And inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house. Trees. That is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
People. And they will put all the shores of North and they should. Jesus, done all this. For our parents here. They stood and said, it is a parent. And that all is wanted to return. With that hand stretched out towards that ship, and tied in chains themselves bound together. And they must put on this memorable shows. They got there, scattered that ship that brought them to a strange land, and these strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country. Strange people who stood to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be West Indians that they were living with. They were going to be the people that were destroyed. They soon discovered that all this ship that they were being brought here. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us. But this ship was made of Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by. Use Jesus, the name Jesus, to our in a mental state, thinking that we all have to leave it. This is earth. My brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to people to today. Imagine our parents standing in front to return to that people and people and you here today. I want to see the best that brought in subjection to that will. You know, turning away from your ordinary life and turning it back towards our prison house and and who have destroyed us and seeks to destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your peace. They're trying to make love with the people that destroy you in your past. Do you feel? And even today, there are people that shooting you all throughout the country. There's no justice here for you and me. Why did not you want to be separated? And be returned to your I think that push. They know where your parents are. The Eastern Europe crying and praying to God to be returned to their arms 400 years ago. You like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemned for being such fools. And now, what? And then that absolutely enslave them and kill them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as fools. When I wanted to be separated, they go to your arms and application for your son. So I said you open. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Someone brought him here. That should have covenant. Okay, brothers, this has been a year now. And found him home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Found him home after 40 years. It's been a year now. There was an agreement made for slave master. Said, your choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. Yes, the original people decided they wanted the inheritance and traded for a place in America. Affiliation with their former slave master. It's their choice. They chose. They don't want to go over to Arabia. They don't go over there sand and all that stuff. They want to stay in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here. Right? We can make peace with a slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, you get reports of how things are going over there, and that sounds too good. Things are going over in America with their reparations, because they was given 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. They got those 6 states right there. That's what FARRAKHAN told them. He was following this in FARRAKHAN. FARRAKHAN promised them. They stay there, 6 states, right, their own land. And they can make reconciliation with former slave master. They're not devils, not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, there's some things wrong, but now they don't make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody paid $1 million. Thank you, FARRAKHAN. They're so happy. Thank you, FARRAKHAN. Thank you, FARRAKHAN. And you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. Thank you. Thank you, FARRAKHAN. And this was a year ago. 6 states. Thank you, FARRAKHAN. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. They're rejoicing. Oh, they're so happy. We made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago. We left. We're in Arabia. They're still back in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This is the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. So happy. And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Oops, he says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Failure. And just those 6 states. So, and now they were big and massive. They came asking to turn the power. Why can't they do it? Oh, FARRAKHAN didn't train anybody. He was telling about 6 states and he repaired you for him. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So these big man master, can you come out and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told them 6 days of promising that he would have prepared them for, right, in schools and education, whatever they needed. But I guess they didn't, because they said, oh, we're not even begging. It's from the master to come and turn the power back on. Then what? This is what's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these same portion now. A year later. It's like, they come in every hour. How good failure, right? It's a crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no, they looked at the farmers, when they done, farmers said, oh, so then, master, what's happening here? How come no? Crap. Found out that the rain they gave them wasn't that fertile. Even later, nothing's growing. So, and now so what's going to happen here? Right? Yeah, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look here and they had, a year ago, they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? Now, they look there now and all the food's gone. They're gone. She said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. You can't produce your own food. I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. And you run it. What are you calling us for? So they're praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money. Right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. You got your reparations, so we don't owe you anything anymore. So what you calling us for? You don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of inheritance, what you call Abrahamic covenant, Arabian. Your brothers and sisters, they left, they took that was all for them, they took it. And you said, no, I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh, man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on? And I said, wait a minute, hold on here. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff's coming every hour, and instead of like a year, they were celebrating. And now they're crying, begging the master of grace. We got all these problems here. So wait a minute, that's just what comes about your problems. You have to work those out. No transportation, I mean, planes from nowhere. I fly a plane and drive trucks and boats and stuff, and you go and get this stuff. What you got this for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and get to train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you got for? Well, now, so you said you want 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was the reparations. So that if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. You can't drive, right? Yes. Yes, wow. All this stuff happened like, well, yeah, everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So guess what happened? Everything was good when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to replace it, make the fuel, get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factories full, warehouses full, and you have to keep, they thought that was just gonna, I guess they thought it was just gonna be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See? And they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he don't get this for you, but he don't pay you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So when I said, Master, I said, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you want to have reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, calling your brothers over there, they left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? Have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? I mean, that's what, because I mean, you want to say reparation, you should be paying for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be paying for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, told him to build arks, he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states, and the reparations, apparently you didn't. So now, it tells you, look, hold it. We want total separation. I mean, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You run your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1,000,000, everything, all this stuff, right? So now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. So we're going to cut you off first transforming that too. That's all economics. So they're going to tell all the people, all the white folks, right? All the black folks, all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. It'd be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. You said one or the other. So all the black folks are here, no integration, that kind of stuff. That was it, one or the other. So they're there. So they said, okay, right? So they said, we want to take our money because we don't know what y'all do over here. You have your own money, you have your own wealth. So they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money. Transfer your money into gold. And all your dollars into gold. Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million a piece. So everybody got $1 million a piece, right? So transfer it to gold. And then what happens is what they do is they start just printing money. Just start printing money. You understand what that means? It's inflation. Because if you got $1 million of gold, $1 million ounces of gold, say $1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got $1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got $1 million ounce, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? You got $1 million ounces of gold, and you got $1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with your certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold. If you take and print, you say you got $1 million ounces of gold, these certificates. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now. You got to connect that to the gold. You print 4 times, then each one is worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they work, because those certificates have to equal what the gold is. See, so the more you print money, the less their worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, then less gold. See? So $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold. That's right. Then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is, they keep printing. They get down to $100 is worth a penny. See, that doesn't affect their people. They try to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. Still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. Make $1. Not worth anything. Otherwise, budget A, that's our money. You gotta have your money, you gotta control your wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. You think they would do that? You've been a gods lately? You see what happened to the trees they made, the so-called natives kept telling you to fall down because they kept making trees where then they broke the trees. They took their land and genocide everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? And you burn it up, throw it away, it's worth nothing. You still got gold, and even if they take it, hold on, the money hopefully increase again, they use another certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. The $1 million you had, you was so happy with now, it's probably worth $1 million. You can't buy anything $1. Plus the economy's crap because everything is selling, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't have to repair medications. You don't have to do any of this stuff. Engineer, but how should I do anything? Because it's FARRAKHAN he didn't know how to prepare you. He told you to give 6 days. He told you, listen to me. Okay? Now, you're broke. The economy's gone. No food, no electricity, no power, anything. It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still have your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you're going to try to get back into America now. We're going to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. If you chose, you stay there. Close the border so you can't get back in here. You get back in there into what you call your land now. Swaziland or something? FARRAKHAN. You call it FARRAKHAN. FARRAKHAN. You make the FARRAKHAN. Right? So they close the borders, you can't. Because now you're hungry and everything else, your money's worthless. Oh God, I come back, man, I come back with you, I work for Popeye, I do anything you want. No, either they were in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America any place, just in that land, and those that you 6 days. And then you're starving, you ain't got no money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. And you see Mr. Anthony on the phone, talking to the guy you get paid to help you. Finally got rid of him. Finally got rid of him. So he's sitting on the phone. Yeah, it worked. He saw him in Revelation, he told him that was a used car. He turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. They could have had a BMW, they could have Lamborghini, they sold it for BMW. Good, damn thing didn't work. Now, it's starving. Living in tents. Praying. So what? Anyway. What we gonna do, FARRAKHAN? What we gonna do, FARRAKHAN? You told us to take reparations, so we did, but they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, FARRAKHAN? What we gonna do? Pray, 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 pray. That's his answer. Pray, pray, pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, the big picture. Leaving, the black staying on the shore, the one stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Because they all thought you think they would give you some land, take care of you? They didn't want to do that. Give everybody $1 million, you know what it was? 17 million, 17 million times, 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that. What are they going to do that for you? They want to get rid of you. So now they have to see it. Because they close the border, and what you going to do? When you want to fight to come out? They close the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. There's more black problem, more Negro problem anymore. Who's out of here? And those good that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave what they wanted. Or anything. God honors contracts. Remember he honored the contract with Jacob. He sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob. It was Esau's inheritance. And God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Farrakhan ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. It's homeland you was promised, you never rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So they gave you reparations today or tomorrow. How would that scenario not play out like that? What they say, okay, you got it. Tell them that scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell them why they wouldn't do it. There'll be so much they can say, okay, we're going to take care of him. And I say, go out there and take care of you. But he was right here. He's working at Popeyes. And then they get up on Section 8 other stuff last year. Because you know they're trying to get rid of stuff right now. Trump's trying to get all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you. You don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening in America. Of course, coming there. It's a disaster over there. I just got a call. No, really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I've got really something called right there. That 16. They're begging us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them? Bring them? Oh, no. And he went and asked, Master Farrakhan Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. I agree with that. Yeah, the pastor said he's called him and he passed the word to Master Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Listen, no, we can't come and get you. You chose, you made your choice, live with it. But die whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't do it. They actually sent a message over. Well, they didn't have any communication, but somehow they got the information over to him. Said, would you please come and get him? Tell them no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land, you got your reputation, you got your money, you got Farrakhan as your dear. Yeah, I know. Talk to them, let them straighten out for you. You want to sell you the idea, you just sell them. So you want an idea of reparations, we told you. Suleiman, he was a messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, well, since that's a side story. Guess that's it, is that it? Oh, they're not getting more reports. Okay, he says that was a Matthew Hunt's final decision, and I think they closed communications off. And so, that's it, brothers and sisters. Got those ballots that came in. All that came in today. I mean, I came in fast. Here. Total collapse. They're begging it. Somebody help me. We can't do it. They're master help you. We won't do it. That's not what we do. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in. They said, well, if you won't come and get us food, we please send some food. They begged him, please send some food. So I'm saying, I'm going to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. I said, please just send some food. Just got that in. He says, can you come and get it? Please send some food. He says, no. I said, I just got information from the ambassador. He said that he's made to me. He says, no. He said, please send us some food. He said, no. No way. You made your choice. Case closed. Just got that in, bro. It's just, that's not like him.